Sam Elliott has one of the most unforgettable voices in Hollywood. Deep, calm, and powerful. A voice that sounds like it carries the weight of the Old West itself. For decades, audiences have known him as the rugged cowboy, the loyal friend, and the man who speaks with quiet wisdom. But behind that iconic mustache and steady gaze lies a story that is both inspiring and heartbreaking. At 80 years old, Sam Elliott has lived a life full of victories, love, and fame, but also one filled with pain, loss, and regret. His journey from a struggling young man to one of the most respected actors in Hollywood is not just about success. It's about endurance, patience, and the price of following a dream when the world tells you to stop. Even now, after years of success, Sam still carries memories that haunt him, moments that shaped him into the man fans admire today. Sam Elliott was born on August 9, 1944, in Sacramento, California. His father, Henry, worked for the U.S. Department of the Interior, and his mother, Glynn, was a high school teacher and physical education instructor. Sam's childhood was ordinary on the outside, but inside their home there was tension. Henry Elliott was a practical man who believed in hard work and stability. He didn't think acting was a real career. Young Sam, on the other hand, dreamed of becoming a performer. When he told his father that he wanted to be an actor, the response was cold and discouraging. Henry thought acting was foolish, something that would never put food on the table. These arguments hurt Sam deeply, but he refused to give up on his dream. When his father suddenly died of a heart attack while Sam was still in college, the pain was unbearable. Sam later said that every success he achieved carried sadness because his father never lived to see what he became. That guilt and longing stayed with him for life. After his father's death, Sam moved to Los Angeles to chase his dream. But Hollywood in the 1960s was not kind to outsiders. He had no money, no connections, and a voice that was considered too Western for leading roles at the time. To survive, Sam worked in construction, carried lumber, and took any job that paid the bills. He often showed up to auditions wearing dusty boots from the worksite. Yet through every rejection, he stayed patient. His tall frame, calm voice, and kind eyes slowly began to get attention. He landed small roles, sometimes just a few seconds on screen, but each one was a step forward. He learned to wait for the right moment rather than chase fame too fast. That patience would later define his entire career. Hollywood started to notice the man with the cowboy face who didn't need to shout to command attention. Sam Elliott's early career was full of hard lessons. He appeared in minor TV roles throughout the 1960s, like Gunsmoke and The Way West. But the big break he dreamed of always seemed just out of reach. Still, Sam wasn't the type to quit. He watched how other actors behaved, learned how movies were made, and waited. In 1969, he got a small but memorable part in the classic film Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He didn't have a leading role, but the experience changed his life. And not only because it put his face on screen. It was during that film that he met Katharine Ross, a beautiful and talented actress who played Etta Place. At the time, she was a rising star, and Sam was barely noticed. Yet, something about her grace and strength stayed in his heart. Years later, fate would bring them back together. For now, Sam continued working quietly, building his skills and learning how to survive in a business that often ignored him. Years after their first meeting, Sam Elliott and Katharine Ross found each other again. This time they were both established actors. Sam had finally begun to earn respect as a character actor, and Katharine had starred in classics like The Graduate and Butch Cassidy. They fell in love quickly and got married in 1984. Hollywood marriages rarely last long, but theirs was different. They built a life far away from the spotlight, preferring peace over fame. Together they had one daughter, Cleo Rose, who grew up surrounded by creativity and art. Sam often said that his wife was his greatest supporter, the one who understood the price he paid to stay true to himself. Their marriage became one of the rare Hollywood success stories, a partnership based not on glamour, but on trust, patience, and shared values. Behind his quiet strength was a man deeply devoted to his family. Even with his growing fame, Sam Elliott never became an overnight star. His career built slowly, brick by brick, through the 1970s and 1980s. Movies like Lifeguard and The Legacy gave him small breakthroughs, but it was his natural presence and voice that made him unforgettable. Directors began to realize that he didn't need to play loud or flashy roles. His silence spoke volumes. In films like Mask, Tombstone, and Roadhouse, Sam brought a sense of dignity to tough characters. He could make a single line feel like a full story. Viewers connected with his honesty. He wasn't acting to be famous. He was acting to be real. Despite his success, Sam never lost his humble roots. He often said that being true to yourself mattered more than chasing money or attention. That attitude set him apart in an industry where many lose themselves chasing fame. While Sam's career was strong, his personal life carried deep wounds. The loss of his father continued to haunt him. In interviews, he admitted that he often wondered if his father would have been proud. That guilt became a quiet companion in his life. He also struggled with the pressures of balancing fame and family. His daughter, Cleo, went through difficult years as a young adult. In 2011, she had a violent outburst that led to legal trouble and emotional pain for the family. Sam rarely spoke about it publicly, but those close to him said it broke his heart. Still, he stood by his family, just as he always had. He believed that love meant staying through the hard times, not walking away. That loyalty and resilience showed the real man behind the movie star, someone who valued forgiveness more than pride. By the 1990s and 2000s, Sam Elliott had become a Hollywood icon. His white hair, steady presence, and calm voice made him a favorite for westerns and character-driven dramas. He appeared in The Big Lebowski, We Were Soldiers, and The Hero. But his most emotional and career-defining role came in 2018, when he starred alongside Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga in A Star is Born. The film introduced him to a new generation of viewers who instantly loved him. His performance as Bobby, the older brother full of love and regret, earned him his first Oscar nomination. When his name was called, the audience rose in applause. Sam's eyes filled with tears. After decades of work, he was finally being recognized not just as a cowboy type, but as a deeply talented actor who could move people with silence and emotion. Even after reaching the top, Sam Elliott never acted like a celebrity. He still lived quietly with his wife on their ranch, far from the Hollywood chaos. He preferred open land, hard work, and the sound of nature over parties and red carpets. He often said that success only matters if you stay grounded. Younger actors looked up to him for advice, and he would tell them, "Stay patient, work hard, and never lose your truth." For him, success came not from fame, but from endurance, from showing up every day and giving your best, even when no one is watching. His story became a reminder that it's never too late to achieve your dreams. Sometimes, the best rewards come after decades of struggle and quiet perseverance. Now, as Sam Elliott enters his later years, he often reflects on what really matters. He's seen friends and co-stars pass away, watched Hollywood change, and realized how quickly life moves. His deep, aging voice now carries a tone of nostalgia, the sound of someone who has seen both joy and heartbreak. In interviews, he speaks softly about gratitude, love, and regret. "You work past the hard times," he once said. "You don't walk away." That simple sentence sums up his life philosophy. He never walked away, not from his dreams, his family, or his pain. Today, he remains one of Hollywood's most respected figures. A man who reminds us that strength doesn't come from power or fame, but from quiet endurance. Behind every calm smile is a story of struggle. Behind every success is the courage to keep going. Sam Elliott's life is more than the story of an actor. It's a lesson in resilience, honesty, and staying true to who you are. He never let the industry change him. Instead, he changed how people saw the cowboy, turning him from a symbol of toughness into one of wisdom and integrity. Even when facing heartbreak, Sam carried himself with grace. His story teaches that pain can shape greatness, and that dreams are worth fighting for no matter how long it takes. When people look at him now, they don't just see an actor. They see a man who stood firm against time, loss, and disappointment, and came out stronger. That is why, even as his voice grows softer and his steps slower, his legacy remains powerful. Sam Elliott will always be remembered not just as a star, but as a symbol of strength, loyalty, and heart. There are few voices in the world that can silence a room. Sam Elliott's is one of them. It's a sound that feels like it's carved from stone, dipped in honey, and seasoned with time. That deep, slow drawl has become part of American culture, calm, confident, and honest. When people hear it, they immediately feel trust, warmth, and nostalgia. For decades, Sam has been the voice of cowboys, soldiers, and wise mentors. The kind of man who speaks few words but means every one of them. Yet behind that legendary sound is a man whose life has been shaped by struggle, heartache, and relentless perseverance. His story is not just about fame or Hollywood success. It's about what it means to survive disappointment, hold on to love, and live with dignity through every hardship life brings. Sam Elliott was born in California but grew up in Oregon, surrounded by mountains, trees, and hardworking people. It was a quiet life, and from a young age, Sam stood out for his calm nature and tall, commanding presence. But when he told his father that he wanted to be an actor, it started a painful divide in the family. His father, Henry, saw acting as an unstable and foolish career. He wanted his son to have a steady job, a pension, a future he could depend on. Sam respected his father, but felt drawn to something different, something artistic and emotional. Their arguments left deep marks. When Henry died suddenly, Sam was crushed by guilt. For years afterward, he would say in interviews, "My dad never got to see me make it. That's a tough thing to live with." That loss became one of the central emotional truths in his life. The idea that success means little if the people you love aren't there to share it. Moving to Los Angeles after his father's death was like stepping into another world. Sam was a stranger in a city built on competition and image. He took any job he could find: construction, labor work, anything to pay rent. He would show up to acting classes covered in dust, trying to learn the craft while holding his pride together. Casting agents often told him his voice was too deep, his look too Western, or that he didn't fit the typical leading man mold of the time. Most young actors would have given up, but not Sam. He worked silently, built discipline, and believed that if he stayed true to himself, time would eventually catch up. His first roles were small, sometimes just background parts, but he treated each one as if it were the lead. That patience became his secret weapon. In Hollywood, where so many chase quick fame, Sam learned the value of waiting. As the film industry moved away from classic westerns in the late 1960s, Sam arrived at a time when his rugged style was almost out of fashion. Yet, ironically, that's what made him stand out. Directors began to realize that Elliott's natural calmness carried the same strength as a gunslinging hero. In movies like Lifeguard and Frogs, he began to gain a small following. But it wasn't until his role in Mask, 1985, that audiences truly saw the depth of his talent. As Gar, the loving, loyal biker boyfriend, Sam brought tenderness and heart to a role that could have easily been one-dimensional. Critics noticed. He wasn't just a cowboy anymore. He was a real actor with emotional power. People began to see what Hollywood had overlooked for years: a man who didn't need to raise his voice to move people. When Sam married Catherine Ross in 1984, it became one of Hollywood's rare love stories that lasted. Catherine had already made her name in iconic films like The Graduate and Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid, and their paths had crossed years earlier during filming. But it wasn't until years later that they reconnected. And this time, the timing was right. They shared a deep respect for privacy and a mutual understanding of what fame could take from a person. Together, they built a quiet life away from Los Angeles, focusing on family and peace. Sam once said, "She's the love of my life. We've gone through everything together." Their daughter, Cleo Rose, brought joy but also challenges. Like many children growing up under the shadow of fame, she struggled to find her place. Her troubled years brought painful moments to the family, including a violent incident that became public in 2011. Sam, as always, remained silent, choosing love and forgiveness over publicity. He knew that family mattered more than reputation. In an industry full of egos and scandals, Sam Elliott built his career on humility. He was known on set for his kindness, professionalism, and work ethic. Co-stars often said that he treated everyone, from directors to assistants, with the same respect. He wasn't chasing headlines. He was chasing good stories. That attitude earned him a quiet kind of power in Hollywood, the respect of those who knew what real talent looked like. Through the 1990s, Sam continued to build his reputation with powerful supporting roles in Tombstone, The Big Lebowski, and We Were Soldiers. In Tombstone, his portrayal of Virgil Earp gave him an iconic presence that fans still celebrate. The film cemented him as the ultimate Western hero. Not flashy, not loud, but full of integrity. He became the symbol of a vanishing kind of masculinity: honest, loyal, and brave. But success did not erase loneliness. Behind the steady public image, Sam Elliott struggled with isolation. Fame never sat comfortably with him. He preferred quiet evenings on his ranch to red carpet events. He said that acting for him was never about attention. It was about telling human stories. Yet Hollywood's constant demand for reinvention sometimes made him feel out of place. As younger actors rose and genres changed, Sam worried about becoming irrelevant. Still, he never compromised his identity. He turned down roles that didn't feel true to who he was. In doing so, he earned fewer headlines but more respect. His career became proof that staying authentic, even when it costs you fame, brings lasting peace. That peace, however, came at a personal price. The distance from the industry also meant fewer opportunities and long periods of silence in his career. Then came A Star is Born, 2018. When Bradley Cooper called Sam to play his older brother, he didn't expect the role to change his life, But when the movie was released, audiences were blown away by his emotional depth. His performance as Bobby, a man torn between love and resentment, was so natural